Well, hello there. Welcome to Women Around a Table Eating Food. We're Nic and Jen, therapist and writer, partners in crime, and lifelong best friends. Around here, WTF means what the food. And it's our excuse to go deep, get real, and share the kind of messy conversations that usually stay between us and a plate of something delicious. So sit back, grab a bite, and join our conversation.
Hey girl, hey.
Why does it never get old and we always laugh when
It
one of us
doesn't.
does that?
I know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It is
Hey.
it is funny. It's kind of like my business partner and I, Corey, have this thing where like it's the who's gonna push the Zoom button first and like
Mm-hmm.
who's gonna inevitably you look like an idiot, like, your face or you're like try to do it in
Yeah,
the moment when you're gonna surprise somebody and inevitably afterwards we will slack each other and say, never gets old. Like it's just funny.
never,
It's just
never.
funny. This never gets old. That's great.
Nice to see your
Hi, pretty
face.
girl.
You look beautiful and radiant. I love the pink.
So, thank you. My mother-in-law over Thanksgiving was here and brought a whole bunch of her hand knit sweaters to give to my sister-in-law. And Allie was kind of doing a fashion show, and there were some that were more her, some that weren't. And when Lucia, my mother-in-law, took this one out, I went, because it has these
Stevie
beautiful
Nicks.
bell sleeves. I'm
Oh,
like, I am just spinning, this is so Stevie Nicks. And it's a little bit like a tunic, so I have it on with leggings and tall gray Uggs. And yeah, and it's cozy and super soft. And her stitches, I don't knit. I mean,
did
Nanny
she
taught me
knit
when I was
that?
super.
Did she
Oh yeah, she
actually
made
knit?
it. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
And I'll even
Wow.
just for shits and giggles, the bottom of it also has this beautiful,
Oh,
like,
wow.
so it matches. Yeah. It's really quite lovely. So I was very excited that this was A, not Allie's color, and B, not her style, because C, it was both of mine.
Yours.
So I was thrilled. Yeah. So yeah, so I'm
I'm so
thrilled.
glad.
Thank you. Thank you. This time of year, like I don't know about you, but with all of the holiday sales, it's the perfect time to be buying clothes because everything is
Mhm.
so wildly discounted. But and also if I'm thinking about things that are needed either for the house or
Yeah.
for the kids, or and Parker and I are gonna we're gonna buy each other something this year, which we haven't done for a while. So that's
What?
very exciting.
Do you
So
know
I
what?
have a
Well, I know you can't say now, but
I
do you know
can't
what
say
I know?
here, but I
Oh,
know what I already did. Yes,
okay, so
love
we'll
it. You're
talk
gonna love
about
me so
that
much. Baby's gonna
offline.
be happy. Yes, we will. How about you? How are you doing with your prep and whatnot?
Great. Yeah, all is
Good.
well. We're going to go to the Cape for a few days to see Mama
Sweet.
and do a couple little family events. And so we'll do that. And then we'll come home probably on Saturday so we can just unwind because then we start the week back up with work. So
Mm-hmm.
we're just keeping it
So
simple.
sh this is she was not up here for Christmas last year. She was still in North Carolina.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Has she given you how's she feeling? Or how are you mourning the fact that you are not traveling to go someplace warmer at Christmas? Does that no? You're good
No,
with the Cape.
yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I loved when she lived in Florida. I mean, I don't love Florida to be honest, but I did love in like January if we'd go down there and it was just so beautiful and warm and
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff. But I don't actually miss it because traveling around the holidays is like the last thing that I want to be doing.
I know.
So we're going to leave crack of ass on the 24th. So we get there, around 9
Oh,
o'clock in the
good,
morning on Christmas Eve. And then we have a few days and then we'll come home. Our cat sitter will take care of the babies while we're away, which is
good.
wonderful. So all is well. Yeah,
Do you have a
this is
meal
a
planned? Does
not
she?
yet.
Oh, show me.
This is a gift that she gave me last year. Do you see what
It's
it says?
Miss, Ms., Mrs. Doctor. I like that.
So,
I
so
love
the
that.
this cup for those who are not on the YouTube, it says it's, and then a line through Miss, Ms., Mrs. So there's a red line through that, and underneath it says doctor, actually, because
Oh, yes.
she is always so proud that her daughter is a doctor, and I never call myself Dr. O'Brien. I
You don't.
never do any of that, and it drives her nuts. And so anytime she has the opportunity, when she sends a card, she puts Dr. Nicole O'Brien, in the mail. Like
Hmm.
she just is very proud. So it's kind of cute.
Was that a conscious decision or was it a decision to try to be and feel more casual with your students?
Yeah, I think sometimes we use these titles. I'm not even sure why. And so I'm just a human and like any other
Mm.
human and like my students. And so the only time I ever asked anybody to call me doctor was on the day that I defended my dissertation and received my doctorate. And like everybody can call me Dr. Nick, at that point. And then after that, students would call me Dr. O'Brien and I would let them know, you can call me Nicole. And some of them would, but then some of them just couldn't make
Mm.
themselves call me by my first name. So I didn't fight it or
Yeah.
anything like that. But it's just, it's a piece of who I am, but I don't require the title.
Yeah.
Unless I need to use it. And sometimes you need to use it because it carries weight and relevance and things like that. But I don't often.
Trying to think of a situation. You're so not that person. Like what would be a situation where you needed to throw around weight and relevance?
I've had
Like I
to
can't
do it.
even.
Yeah, I've had to do it when certain other providers that I have to coordinate with who are
Mm,
doctors, like psychiatrists and things like that. And I can tell by the tone in which they're speaking with me that they think
mm.
I'm just a therapist. And so I have to kind of sometimes um, say to them, this is Dr. O'Brien, and that seems to calm the
That
situation.
it makes the it makes the point, shall we say.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I can see that. I can see that. And if also, like, if anyone who's not watching this on the YouTube, you also have looked like a kid for the vast majority of
Yeah,
your entire life with
exactly.
hardly ever a white hair or a wrinkle or anything and not wearing glasses or anything
Well,
like that. I know, I
now what do
love
you
it.
see?
Dude, I'm like,
You
you,
commented on it earlier. You're like, oh my gosh, I can actually finally see your little white
your hair's
hairs.
been down for you haven't like gelled it up or
I
moved it,
know.
like, just styled it up in a bit. And I mean, I love it like that, but it's really pretty to see. Gotta tell you.
You're
Gotta tell you. Anyone who's just
welcome.
listening to us and anyone who's just burning to try to know what Nick looks like, go to the YouTube, the links in the Spotify and in the Apple podcast and go and see her.
Yeah,
See her
yeah.
hair.
Thanks. I'm
I
catching
think
up
it's
to you.
all yeah, fuck you. Fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
Because I got plenty of white stripes here.
Yeah,
I look like a fucking
I
skunk.
love your white stripes. So we're like a minute or so
We
away
are.
from when our dear guest is going to be joining us. So she could pop
I'm
in
so
at
excited.
any second. And so when she does, we'll just get rolling. So think, oh my God,
What's up, Nick?
girl, look at you.
How do I look? I'm trying to get my lighting right. Is it
You
okay?
That's
you
gonna make me
always
cry looking at the
uh,
two of you.
Hey, honey,
it's
how are you?
I'm great. It has been a long time, sister.
It has. It has a very long time.
I mean, let's think about this. We were what, 18?
Yeah. And I think I was a year younger than you. So I was 17.
Yeah,
Atta
so you know
girl.
it's so funny. So I have this intro that I'm going to read about Chazzy Chaz. That's what I like to call her. Didn't know if you knew that, but that's what I like to call you.
Yeah, I have a bunch of my friends like to call me different names, so it's cool. But like, I
Okay.
like Chassie Chaz. Yeah, I
I
use
like
it all
Okay.
Jazzy
three
Jazz.
though. I try to hashtag all three because my friends are like, "Oh, you're Chaz, you're Chassie Chaz." So
Yeah, I love it. So I said today we have an absolute legend at the table. And then I'm looking at your sweatshirt.
Honest to
It
God,
says,
look at that.
legends
That's the
never
best.
die. That
You
is
have to say that.
that is so
Right, you
great.
just have to start because you're just so good. You just have to like all of this is so like the energy is so
I
beautiful.
know. So today we do have an absolute legend at the table. So Chasity
Mm.
Melvin has been an inspiration since most of us who are basketball players knew how to dribble. At NC State, she became a full-on Wolfpack icon, dropping well over 2,000 points and snagging well over 1,000 rebounds, and helping take that team to their first ever Final Four. She went 11th overall in the 1999 WNBA draft and spent 12 seasons in the league for the Rockers, the Mystics, and the Chicago Sky. She's a WNBA All-Star, put up double-digit points like it was nothing, and finished with over 4,000 points and 2,000 rebounds and nearly 900 offensive boards, which basically means don't even think about boxing her out. Then she took that talent global, playing in Italy, Spain, Poland, Israel, Turkey, Russia, basically everywhere the world had a basketball court. Then, after retiring, she flipped the script again, becoming the first woman ever hired on an NBA affiliated G League coaching staff. She has coached Division One hoops, is a member of the North Carolina Hall of Fame, championed the Kay Yow Cancer Fund, and built a whole career as an author, a speaker, host, and all around powerhouse. Her memoir, At the End of the Day, dives into her journey with honesty, heart, and faith. And on a personal note, Chaz and I go way back. We were AAU teammates in high school, and she helped take us. Our team was called the North Hills Maulers because
Ballers.
a mall sponsored us, and so she helped take us to the Final Four of the National AAU tournament. And I am, if you can't tell, so excited that you're here and thrilled to reconnect with you. So welcome, Chastity.
Thanks for having me, Nick, and Jen as well. I'm excited. I'm so stoked, to be here. So it's so surreal because you guys meant so much to me. The Maulers, that's so funny.
When was the last time you thought of that?
No, I actually on Facebook we see the photos, and I think Nick posted a picture on her Instagram, and I was like, it just brings back so many memories. And my best friend from my hometown as well, Felicia, was on the team, so she just turned 50, and
Oh,
so we put
Felicia.
some of the pictures up from playing in those AAU days because they were very instrumental in me becoming the person I am today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
You know, it's funny because my mom was saying to me that one of the most memorable moments for her. So my mom would sit on the bench with us. She was kind of basically our assistant coach and mom. And she would sit on the bench. But one of the most memorable times for her was when she got the opportunity to be with you and your parents and Frank, my stepfather, who's passed, but was our coach, and Kay Yow, when you were negotiating going whether you were going to go to NC State or not. And you asked Frank and my mom, and your parents were there, obviously, to be with you during that time. And my mom said that there was a moment where, Kay and your parents were chatting and Frank was chatting with Kay, and you tapped my mom on the shoulder and you said, Miss Letitia, come back here to my room with me for a second. And you were like, okay, so I think I want to say yes. These are the reasons. Tell me what you think. And like, that is like to her, like, such a memory. And she's so proud that you actually tapped her on the shoulder.
Do you
Yeah,
remember that,
yeah, I
Chastity?
do remember that. I mean,
Yeah.
Miss Forker was like my basketball mom, so she was such a sweetheart. And Frank was always on me. Coach Frank, he was my man though, but they were the family was so instrumental in my life and my parents' life as well, just me playing on that team because I was from such
Mm.
a small town. So it just really that was the first opening of like the real world to me outside of my rural town. So yeah, I really appreciated them.
Can you guys talk a little bit about like the climate of AU basketball for folks who don't know? Because I think that sometimes, I mean, even just where you were just talking about coming from such a small town, I forget that players would have come from a lot of different places. So just like what was that like and just being that age and the vulnerability that it takes to come in and maybe you don't have any friends on the team and like what was that like and how did it draw the two of you together?
Good question.
Yeah. Well, for me, like I said, I was from a small town, and when Dr. Bradshaw first came down and found me, it was just funny because my grandmother was like, how are we going to get her to Raleigh to play basketball? My dad worked,
Mm.
my mom worked all the time. Like, we were from very humble beginnings. So Doc was like, I'm going to come pick her up for practice. And my grandmother was like, she's not driving with no white man all the way to Raleigh. So it was like a big family meeting. Like, everybody watched me leave on that first day to go with him to
Oh,
practice. And so that was interesting. But I had so much fun. Like, I really did. Like, for me, it was just like, okay, I'm playing the game I love. I didn't even think about, like, I didn't look at it the way my parents and my grandmothers looked at it. I looked at it as like, I know I can play, so I'm going to
yeah.
play. I'm going to join girls who love the game as much as me. So it was a lot of fun. But like, AAU was totally different. Like you said, everybody came from different towns, and it was really like a few teams. Now, rural area doesn't matter. There's like 20 different teams.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's wild too that we all like we were we were a small team in comparison to some of those bigger teams. Like what
Yeah,
was it? The Greensboro something. I
the
can't remember the name.
Greensboro, and then Charlotte had a team that
Yeah.
was huge.
And we
Yeah,
were this like little small like town where I mean our our jerseys were ridiculous. And like, but we had people from all over the state and we all gelled so well. Like you were from Roseboro, North Carolina. I was from Raleigh. Then we had people from Durham. We had people from all over the state. And but we had this synergy as a team that developed. And it was really like I think for me
Mm.
too, Chaz, like it was my first experience of like teamwork 101, right? Like it
yeah, yeah,
was
Mm.
like not something that we ever learned in a classroom, but we got to learn that in real time on the court and with not people that we went to school with every day. So we like had to
yeah.
get to know each other, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and I think it built. I know it built more confidence for myself, and also like when Felicia came up, like I think we all gained confidence in like, oh, we're okay because we were a crazy bunch and we love basketball. And I know from my hometown, like that was just weird for girls to like basketball so much, especially
Yeah.
being having two Southern grandmothers. Like, you can't marry a basketball, like it was. So when I was around you guys, everybody was like, "Oh, we're okay. We're normal. We wear shorts and t-shirts, and we love to play." So that really built a lot of confidence. Like, I am okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love that.
Totally.
I was thinking about and I should have just bloody written it down. I watched when you were describing what it was like to be picked up and go to your practice. I can't remember the name of it, but HBO had done a brief mini series about the Lakers and the family that had bought the Lakers. And this is a terrible story because I can't think of the names, but there was a there was a scene when Magic Johnson was leaving town and going to go and play in LA. This was one of my favorite things that I have watched in the last couple of years, period, end of story. I thought that the production value was great. It was awesome. But all of that backstory leads me to ask you, with all the basketball that you've enjoyed, like what's your favorite sports movie? What's your favorite basketball movie? What has hit you and what do you love?
Wow, there's a few,
Or
but
two, or it doesn't even have to be one because I hate picking one thing. That was totally rude. What are like three that you loved or
I,
love?
I mean, I literally just watched this with my nieces and nephews, and I can't think of the name, but it was
I'm
with
like that.
Samuel L. Jackson. He was the coach of the high school
Yes.
team. I literally just watched it. I had to show my nieces and nephews.
I, I'm
So
like that. Don't worry about it. Don't worry
yeah,
about it. I'm
You're gonna
gonna
look
try
that
to
up.
help. I'm gonna even help you out just
yeah,
because.
out. We just watched it.
Did we ever watch like as a team? Did Frank ever make us watch Hoosiers?
Oh yes, we watched
Yeah.
Houston.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Houston is on everyone's list, so I just wanted to say something. Like, I was
Something
like, I
Coach
gotta
different.
pick
Carter.
one that's different. But yes, he made us watch Hoosiers.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh,
I think
yes.
it was Coach Carter that you
Yes,
watched.
Coach Carter. Coach Carter.
Mm,
Yeah,
wow.
Coach Carter.
Yeah,
So
that one. this one, well, Winning Time. That's what it was. It was Winning Time. It was the rise of the Lakers dynasty. And
Mm.
it was absolutely, I swear, if you guys haven't seen it, and it was an unbelievable depiction of just the whole shebang.
Mm.
Even like then with the Celtics rivalry and
Oh
everything. It
yeah.
was great. It was super good.
Cool. I have to check it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I
must.
hate I
You
hate I
must.
haven't watched it. Because I was a big, huge Magic Johnson fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
You know, it's funny.
I Oh,
I
you
think
go.
of, I was gonna say, I think about, so like as we're talking about, the AAU days, Chaz, then I think about, it's so funny for me because little old me, and then Chastity goes on to NC State, and then she goes on to the WNBA, and I got to play with her when I was, 18 years old. And so like it's such a cool, it's my claim to fame that I got to play with a WNBA star. She was my center. Like that is such a cool thing. But it makes me think about too, um, just your whole trajectory for your life, going from this small town, Roseboro, North Carolina, and even like a small AAU team that we're a small, team, then going bigger to NC State, which if those of you don't know, NC State Wolfpack and KO was like talk about a legend. And then to the WNBA. How was it going from small to kind of like big in a short period of time and then even bigger? Like, how was that for you?
It was obviously a transition, and it was challenging just because I didn't know for sure. I guess now as you get older, you learn it's an imposter syndrome. Like, am I really good? Like, can I keep going? Can I be successful? And the hardest year was my freshman year at NC State. I was calling my parents every day, like, I can't do this. Come get me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not built for this. This is too hard. I miss my family so much. And my mom would come get me every weekend. It's kind of probably another scene for the movie because I had, like Nick knows, I had two sisters, two brothers. So everybody would come get me. Sometimes my grandmother would be in the station wagon with them, and they would come get me on Friday. And then Sunday, I would go to my grandmother, tap her on the shoulder, and be like, "Please tell mom and dad don't take me back." So he would
Oh.
come in the living room and be like, "She doesn't want to go back, and she doesn't have to." And then my mom and dad would take me back by themselves. So I'm thankful for my parents. Like these days, parents to give me in. Oh, she doesn't want to go. She doesn't want to do it. I coach a lot of kids. Their parents just let them rule, but like my parents were like, "No, you're going back."
Yeah.
And so that built a lot of resilience in me, and a lot of character, and a lot of confidence. I had to learn. I had to work, and so once I developed my freshman year, that was all she wrote. Working with Coach K. Yao, she taught me everything about the game. I gained my confidence, week by week, and I never looked back. Never looked back after that.
That's amazing. Jen, I
I
interrupted
had
you, so
a
you go ahead.
No, no, that's okay. I mean, it was just I was thinking about you were talking about how your parents made you go. And I'm thinking, like, you've coached a lot of different ages. You've seen a lot of different, I mean, all three of us have experienced what therapizing different generations is like from when we were all younger. I'm a stepmom. I've got a sister who's developmentally delayed, like seeing how different generations treat different types of kids as they age, right? And I'm wondering whether or not you get like the grit you get students today. Like you hear stories about young people or some people going for job interviews and maybe their parents are on the job interview call, or there's just a lot of helicoptering or just a lot of like, my child can't go to school today because they have a hangnail or something like that. I mean, it feels my mother's in the public school system in Massachusetts where I grew up. And what have been some differences and what have been some similarities that you've seen coaching between kids who had the grit that the two of you had when you were younger, or parents that would have said, I don't care, you're doing it, you're going back to school, or you're not going to miss practice, and today's what feels like slightly more lackadaisical approach to getting the job done? Because you've probably seen it all.
Yeah, I have, and I was fortunate enough to coach in high school, most recently with Green Hope and Cary, North Carolina, and just coaching AAU and working with kids. And I've had so many parents come up to me and be like, "Thank you so much for talking to our kids like that. We can't do that. Like, do whatever you want." And
Wow.
Wow.
I was just like,
Yeah, that's
I
what I
was,
wondered.
yeah, I was just like, there was no way my parents would ever come tell anybody like, "Thank you for being hard on my kid," or like,
Yeah.
it was just like, so that was really different for me, because my parents, my grandmothers, and my cousins, their parents, they always taught us like how to be resilient, how to work hard. You're gonna fail, you got to get back up. And so that's the challenging part now, coaching. And now with a lot of coaches, they're like, "Oh, you got to use the new coaching techniques. You can't be hard on them." Obviously, there were some negatives about old school coaching that
Yeah,
obviously you
sure.
want to evolve and get better with. Like I never believed in like not giving kids water, like
Yeah.
running them to death
Yeah.
until they threw up. Like there are some extremes. But they still need that old school loving and old school coaching. And so for me, I've had the keen ability to mix the old school coaching with the new creative coaching and involving the
Mm.
kids. But at the same time, they want that discipline. It's
Mhm.
kind of like my nieces and nephews, like their grandmothers spoil them, but then they'll say, well, Aunt Chastity is mean to us because she says no. It's so funny. Like,
You're
it's,
like,
it's
kids,
so,
you do not know what mean looks like.
yes,
You just don't.
like, yeah, they're just like, you said no. Or it's like, we'll go to Five Below and I'll say, there, you can only get two things. And, it's kind of funny because we were raised, it was like, we didn't get the luxury of going different places and getting a whole bunch of stuff. So
Right.
I like, kids just need to know they can't have it all, or I tell them,
Yeah.
well, what were your grades? Like I check with their parents and say like, how are your grades? Are you making A's and B's? And they're like, I had a C. It's okay if I had a C. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not.
I love it.
We don't get Roblox cards around here for C's. So they think I'm so hard on them. But yeah, coaching the high school kids, I think just coaches have to still mix the old school, just the fundamentals of coaching, like teaching them about character, discipline,
Mm.
and hard work. And then you can obviously mix how things have evolved in the evolution because these kids are a lot smarter. They want to talk. They want to be heard. That was something different when we were playing and we were
Mhm.
younger. It was just like
Mhm.
whatever coach says goes.
Yep.
So you do have to incorporate that. And obviously, I like to. I call them my young mentors because they are
Mhm.
super intelligent, and so I learn from them. But at the end of the day, I have the stronger voice, and I think there's a challenge with that. I think there's a huge challenge with that, and I just feel like I have the keen ability just from my different experiences to navigate that a little bit more fluid.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
love that.
what you're talking about, Chaz, is something that I tell parents as a therapist that I tell parents a lot around there has to be this balance of warmth and structure.
Yes,
Right. So like you can have structure and expectations and ramifications and consequences, and you can also be warm and you can hold them and you can make space for them. But you
yes,
have to balance both of those things. And that's exactly what it sounds like you do in your coaching is that, yeah, you're gonna give the best you got for these young people. You're gonna give your heart and soul and you're gonna love on them and you're gonna hold them to the highest version of themselves because you believe in them.
Mm.
yeah. It's funny. Like with my kids, their parents would want them to play, but then they didn't want them to practice. So they would come and tell me all these excuses of why they couldn't go to practice, and I was like, you know what? Just come tell me you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because it all means the same. So they would start saying, I got it. I'm just gonna make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I was like, yeah, because there's no correlation to missing practice because it was just like I got to get my hair trimmed. It wasn't things like
Yeah.
they couldn't have rearranged.
They weren't like
Yeah.
going to a funeral.
Yeah, they
Like it
weren't
was
going to a
like
funeral. Nobody died. They
haircut.
weren't sick. It was, and I'm looking at their parents, and they're like, "Well, it's funny. Obviously, I was in Cary, but I have parents calling me like, well, they're going to miss the 2 weeks because we're going to Colorado.'
And
Like,
you're like, okay.
okay,
Like, well, they're going to miss the 2 weeks of games that they come back
I'm
because
looking
that's just the
like,
way I roll. So,
right, G, and I'm telling them like, look, it's 12 of us. We all could go to Colorado and practice. Like,
right.
playing the whole trip for everyone.
Yeah.
But
I love
I
it.
joke around with it. But obviously different programs. I mean, but still it's the same issue. Kids don't feel good or they just want to skip practice. I just I think those are non-negotiables. Like if you want to play, you got to teach kids to be committed.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's a
Nick,
commitment there.
what's your line, Nick? Your boundaries are what?
Boundaries are love,
Yeah,
Boundaries are
right?
love,
yeah,
right?
Boundaries are love. Clarity and structure is love. Like if
it
we can
really is.
provide that for kids, like that is just such a game changer. When kids don't have it, I think they flail and they're confused and they don't have like that safe structure to operate within. And so, that's exactly what you're providing, Chaz.
Yeah.
So when you got out of college, so when you left NC State and here you are, I don't know, where were you for the draft? Were you like in the place where they do the draft?
No, I actually, people kind of forget, but I actually graduated and I joined the ABL. So I didn't
Wow.
go straight to the WNBA. There were two leagues. There was the ABL and the WNBA, and I chose the ABL. So I actually went to the draft in Philly, Philadelphia. They had the draft there, and I was drafted number two by the Philadelphia Rage. And
Wow.
those were exciting times. Yeah, yeah.
Whoa.
Wow.
What's
So
how?
what year was that? Was that 98?
Yep, that was 98 as soon as I graduated. And
Wow.
it was a dream come true. Again, like I'm going to the big city. I'm leaving North Carolina, leaving Raleigh to go to Philadelphia. It was a lot of fun. But that was sad news because I got to play with Teresa Edwards. I was coached by Ann Donovan, the great Ann Donovan,
Oh,
rest in peace.
wow.
Obviously, Teresa Edwards, we know she had won what, 4 or 5 gold medals, 5 gold medals.
Hmm.
And so it was a dream come true. And then December, the league folded, and
Mm.
that was devastating. That was the first time
Mm.
I learned much later that I actually went through a depression after that once the league
Yeah.
folded.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Why did you choose that league over the WNBA at the time? Or was it a choice situation or
yeah, it was a choice situation, and all the good players that I had watched who I admired were playing in the ABL because the ABL had
okay.
started before the WNBA, and then they played during the regular basketball season, like the fall
Yeah.
winter season. And I didn't want to go overseas. I liked the idea of staying
Mm.
at home and playing
Yeah.
during the same typical season like college, NBA, and all the other basketball leagues. And so yeah, that's why I chose the ABL.
Oh my
Mm.
gosh.
And then later on in your career, when you
Yeah.
were like, then you did go overseas a whole
Yeah,
bunch,
and then
right?
I ended up I didn't want to go overseas. I chose the ABL because I didn't want to go overseas. And the ABL folded, and then I had to go overseas
Right.
because it was like they stopped our checks. I think I got like one paycheck, one or two paychecks, and I
Mm.
had just moved. I had just got an apartment right outside of Philly,
Oh
and
my
so me and my
gosh.
mom had to. Fortunately, they let me out of my lease and everything. The people were really nice, and so I had to go. I had bought a truck, so I had to go overseas because my parents were like, "We can't pay for this,"
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
So yeah,
I'd love to ask you about that a little bit because, this podcast is a space where we talk about messy midlife and all the messiness that kind of brought us up to this point too. But we've talked about, Nick and I, a couple episodes ago, we talked about our careers and sort of what led us to enter our careers, but also how we have evolved since then. And I think a lot about people who have chosen to create a career out of what their passion is and the thing that they love. And I feel like from being a little girl, you knew that basketball was the thing that lit you up, and you were able to turn it into your vocation. And then also, as you were just describing, like, holy shit, I have to pay my bills. Like this is it's my passion and the thing that I love, but it's also the thing that's sustaining me. And how, like, what was that like for you? I mean, you gave a glimpse a minute ago about making the decision to go into the WNBA and play internationally, but how have you made it so that basketball has been able to be your passion and your work so successfully for as long as you have? Because usually people have to give up the ghost at some point.
yeah, they do. I just believe my work ethic and my belief in myself and my confidence, and just not getting too high with the highs and not getting too lows with the lows, because obviously it's really life, like so many ups and downs. And for me, that experience with the ABL folding and then having to go overseas, obviously it was just, I was like a kid out of water. Like I went to Spain, that was the
Oh,
first country. And then back in the day, there was only one American for on a team. So they had a
Mhm.
certain rules back then. Like now
wow.
American players can get passports. You can see two or three Americans on a team, but normally it's typically two Americans to a team or one.
Mhm.
And so it was a very lonely time for me. And
Mm.
I think obviously I mean, like Nick knows, my dad was a minister, so I had a very strong faith. And I tell people all the time, like throughout all my travels and stuff, I know God is real because like that's really my relationship with God was really the only thing I had to carry me,
Mm.
especially when I was traveling overseas and um, just trusting where my path and where I was going to end up. I had a
Mm.
successful season in Spain. I came around and we won the championship that year. And then I came home and then it was back to another choice. Like, is the WNBA going to draft me? There was all the ABL players were without jobs, so it was really competitive. It was really competitive.
Wow.
WNBA already had players, and then they were going to have an expansion draft for ABL players.
Mhm.
And so, fortunately for me, I was playing basketball the day of that draft. Nick, I was
Okay.
like, I can't be here. My nerves, my family. I just told my mom to call me. I didn't want to. I just didn't want to face that disappointment because it had been such a rough year with the ABL folding.
Mhm.
And so fortunately for me, I got drafted. You know, my mom called me and everybody was excited and we were off to Cleveland. So it just,
Holy cow.
yeah, it just went
I
from
can't
there.
believe you didn't watch. Like that's
Yeah.
it's kind of like
I
when the
could,
Oscars nominations are being announced and you hear people say, I don't, they're called by their publicist. Your mama was your person.
yeah, I couldn't take the disappointment again. I mean, my
Yeah.
friends and I know people will tell you that played in the ABL. That was really a devastating time when the ABL folded. Especially, well, personally for me, just graduating college, and then kind of getting your dream job and it being taken
Mhm.
away, and then you have to
Yeah.
leave your family again. And obviously, mental health wasn't really talked about, and athletes are supposed to be strong. And I
Mhm.
was a big centerpiece of my family, so everybody was looking up to me. So I was just kind of trying to stay strong at the same time, and not really having the tools to kind of, you know, work through those situations
Yeah.
to just mask it and keep going. So, like when it was time for the WNBA draft, I was just like, I don't know that I could take the disappointment of not hearing
Yeah.
my name called. Like I knew I couldn't, so I went to do what I do best and love. So I was with my friends at home playing pickup basketball.
Of course you were. Of course you
Yeah.
were. You mentioned something I think is really important is that, after the ABL folded and in hindsight you look back and say, yeah, I went through a depression during that time and how mental health wasn't something necessarily that is talked about as much as it is now. And also in our families, right? When you are
Right.
that centerpiece and you're the strong, sturdy one and people don't expect it of you. What did you learn from that time about mental health, about what your experience was like? What did you learn?
I just think I learned that you have to get out of your own way. I learned that situations are temporary, they're not permanent,
Mhm.
and you got to find just to stay positive. Something
Mm.
like Coach Al had already implemented in us, like Chas, it's okay to wallow in self pity, but at some point you got to switch your feet and get out. And
Mhm.
Mm.
so that was kind of like my mental health tools. Like anytime I had like bad loss or things happen, I would like have the self pity moments, call my friends or complain or talk to whoever was my confidant at the time and just really complain. And then it's like, okay, I gotta switch my feet and get out. Like I gotta figure it out and get out
Mhm.
because. And now that's what I did. That's how I navigated it. But the main thing was just trusting God and prayer and just staying positive, positive self
Mm.
talk, like
Yeah.
knowing that this is gonna pass.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. This too shall pass.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna
Hmm.
pass.
Oh, I
Yeah.
actually saw that written out the other day as a tattoo, and I thought, oh my gosh, that is so my next tattoo. Like, someplace where I can see it,
Yeah,
someplace where I can see it and read it, because it's so powerful. It really is. Chastity, when Simone, so you're talking about this, and when Simone Biles a couple of years ago, during the Olympics, she just kind of had to take her personal time out and just get her head straight. When you saw that, when you heard that, when you watched it, what did that, how did it hit you? what did you feel?
No, I was ecstatic. I'm ecstatic, that these players can, first of all, recognize that something is going on. you know
Mm,
because if I look back over my career, if people can say, oh, Chas was inconsistent during that time, there were probably some issues I was dealing with and probably weren't dealing with them in the best
mm,
possible. Like I said, not really navigating the mental health side or having the tools to really cope. I mean, just doing the best that I knew how. So when I saw that with Simone Biles, just taking that time away, you do need that time away. And if it's doable and if an athlete is strong enough to do it, yeah, I mean, I was all for it. And then you saw she came back stronger than ever. So yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
right? She
Freaking
absolutely crushed it.
powerhouse.
I
right.
was,
Yeah, go ahead.
no, please go ahead.
As opposed to if she would have kept playing like so many of us probably in the past played through it, obviously it's going to take a toll on your game without you knowing, on your specific sport. I mean, like you can work as hard as you want, but that mental capacity does have an effect. So
Yeah,
players can look back now, but now you see like she can release all that, or not all of it, because not all of it goes away, but that time away really helped her to not like have be stagnant in her career or have like that
absolutely.
downturn.
Mm.
And I am, this will come as a surprise to nobody. Oh, I hope you can't hear my dogs going absolutely crazy at the delivery person
You
right now. So I
can't hear him at
apologize.
all.
You can't, though.
Nope.
Apple, not a sponsor, not opposed, but boy, these noise canceling AirPods are just something else. Every time they go nuts, you can't hear it. I am not an athlete like the two of you are. I did not, I did not play professionally. I did not play in college, but I've been an avid sports watcher, lover my whole life. And even just this past weekend, Parker, my husband, and I were watching, or 2 weeks ago, we were watching the Patriots play, and there was some play that was not there was a play where someone who is expected to play extremely well wasn't in that moment. And so I looked at him and we had this conversation about how sports viewers sometimes like we expect our players to play at this level all the fucking time, like this high level that is just so superior. And then when they don't play well, then fans can get so ornery and we can get so judgy and I said to him, when you see somebody miss a field goal or you see someone, with major interceptions, do you look at them and think, oh, they're getting paid so much money that they should be playing better? Or do you look at them and think, they're human? And he said, oh, of course, like it's of course, like you can't know how you're going to play every time how you're going to feel every time you get out there. And Chastity, listening to you talk about, there may have been moments in your career where you may not have been playing up to a certain level, or you look at anybody on TV. I think that we lose the humanity to remember that our the people that we look up to, like, and the people who are playing and hurting their body every week, arguably, and putting themselves through everything. We're human. We're human, and we forget that. And maybe I don't even know if there's a bloody question in all this, but it's just the two listening to the two of you talk about this. It just validates so much that I think that sometimes we are so hard on our heroes, and we think that just because they're earning X dollar that they should be perfect all the time. Then it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about grit and kids, and we don't want people to think that C's are okay all the time and we'll get you gift cards, but and also, well, if you just don't understand a concept, how are we all finding balance in that? I don't know. This is just me having diarrhea of the mouth, and I apologize, but just I'm just like I sometimes just think that we place our mentors and we place our heroes up too high, and we forget that they can fall and that they're tender inside.
Yes, yes. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter how
that's
much.
it.
It doesn't matter how much or how little you're being paid.
Mm.
Right?
Mhm.
Right? Like, uh, Nick,
So
I have more
I,
questions, but you can
yeah,
go.
no, I have a question. So, Chas, so okay, here we are. We go AAU, we go KYAL, NC State, we go ABL, go international, we go WNBA. Then, like, you pivot again, right? Like, because obviously we can't, as athletes, be well, I'm like, I'm not a professional athlete. I say we as athletes, but like can't be an
You're an
athlete
athlete.
our entire life in a professional capacity because it does take a toll on our bodies and things change. And so, how did you know it was time to hang up your sneakers and say, okay, like the physical portion of my basketball career is now over, and then how
Mm.
did you figure out what you wanted to do next?
That's a great question, Nick. Actually, I did not want to retire. I was forced out of the WNBA, in part due to the CBA that they had drafted earlier. Vets had to get a certain amount to stay on the team. So a lot of teams didn't want to pay vets that amount because of the salary cap. So they'd rather take, someone that they could cut. And there were a lot of different variables going into that. But I was
Oh.
still playing overseas. I played overseas for 2 more years, 3 more years after I finished in the WNBA.
Mhm.
And I had often heard, and I had started maybe when I was like 39, like 38, 37, maybe. Um, they were less like, Chas, this post transition is going to be so difficult. Like it's
Mhm.
going to be hard to find a job. It's just really challenging. And then you go through a slight depression or you go through grieving, giving up playing.
Mhm.
And so I was playing my third year, my 14th season in Turkey. And I had a really good year. And I was 39 at the time. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm almost 40. And then I started like looking at my age and I'm like, wow, I gotta do the post transition. And so
Mhm.
I just retired because I was like, I could have kept playing overseas, but I just felt like, wow, if I don't stop now, I don't want to like, am I going to be 42 or 43? Maybe try to
Mm.
start a new career. Um,
Mhm.
and that's how I decided to retire.
Mhm.
And I had a great year that year in Turkey and loved it. And then I didn't play anymore after that.
So it wasn't necessarily like your body physically didn't say, okay, hang up your sneakers because your
Right.
knees or your elbows, it wasn't that.
I was blessed to have a healthy career. I had a couple of eye
Mm.
injuries, but other than that, I felt really healthy and strong. I knew a few players that had played, like when Diana was still playing, like I
Mhm.
understood that, you can still do it,
Yeah.
not 40 minutes a game, but you can still play.
Yeah.
So for me, yeah, it's just something I just decided, okay, this is time I have to start pivoting and trying to figure out what's next.
Wow.
Had you made the decision to stop playing during that year that you were playing in Turkey at the beginning of the year so you could kind of enjoy the fact that, oh, this is gonna be my last year. I'm gonna do XYZ, or did you decide when you were all done?
Well, yeah, I kind of thought like, okay, if I have a great year, I could possibly get back in the WNBA and then retire from the WNBA.
Mm.
Because, like I said, I did that 2 more years after my 12th year in the league.
Mm.
So it didn't happen when I got back, just for different reasons. And so then I decided I would retire. Yeah.
And did you start commentating at that point?
Yeah, I started the trends. I had this whole
Seriously.
entire plan, and as they say, we make plans and God laughs at us. So,
Hmm.
I had this plan that I was going to retire and I was going to go after my second dream, and that had been my major in college, mass communications. I wanted to be the
Oh.
at that time in college. Robin Roberts was my idol before the
Mhm.
pro leagues had started. And I remember getting interviewed by her when we made it to the Final Four, and I was just like, this is my idol. I'm going to do what she does. And so when I retired, I tried to do that. And it's so different from what it is now.
Mhm.
Like I was trying to get on and they were like, you don't have anything on your resume. You don't have any experience.
Mhm.
And so I looked up and this, I got an opportunity at this TV station in Wilmington, North Carolina, Way
Mhm.
TV. And I was I was covering high school basketball. I wasn't making any money,
Oh, wow.
I
and so I
cannot
used
believe it. They made you start at basically a rookie level,
yeah,
as if like through osmosis, you would have just been able to know how to call plays. I mean, that's
yeah.
shocking.
It was crazy. And even at NC State, like I did some ESPN three games. Like it was really a hustle. And I never really talked about this story. I'm actually thinking about going through it now as I'm pivoting again and transitioning. But it was really difficult because here I am. I had retired, and just to throw in there, the WNBA had no resources for us when we retired. There's no
Mhm.
pension.
Wow.
You're just done.
Done.
Wow.
Yeah, you're just done. Yeah. So fortunately for me, they do obviously like every other job, teachers, everyone else, you have the 401k that you can put your money in and match. And
Mhm.
so for me, it was kind of a gift and a curse because I was trying to chase this career that didn't pay any money. I had
Yeah.
people telling me do this internship. I'm like 40 years old. Like,
Wow.
it's like
Yeah.
I I'm trying to save my house. I'm trying to save the few assets, the few smart things I did. And
Yeah.
now everyone knows that I really didn't make any money playing in the WNBA because now
Mhm.
people saw the salaries. And when I did that, and then my parents were like, "You got to get a job. Like this is not cutting it."
Yeah.
Again, my parents stepping in like, "What are
Yep.
you doing?" And it wasn't just that; it was just like Nic, like everybody, I didn't realize I was that big of a star, but people were always asking, "What are you doing?" And then when I would tell them things, it was like I was fighting not my ego, but people's perception of me. Like
Mhm.
they were like, "You're working at Way TV," kind of like Jen, what you just said. Like,
I know.
what are you doing? So imagine me as like someone who's always worked hard and is like, okay, I'm going to work my ass off, and then I'm going to be Robin Roberts. Like I was
Mhm.
okay with the trajectory, even though, yeah, I knew I had the knowledge, but I was okay. But then it's like you just start hearing all these different things of like, why are you here? What are you doing? Why are you driving here? Like why aren't you here?
Yeah.
So that was what was making the transition even more difficult. And a lot of athletes
Yeah.
say that. So I did that for a while, and it just wasn't paying the bills, and
Mhm.
I was not going to lose my house. Okay,
Nope. Not an option.
not an option, right? And so fortunately for me, um, my assistant coach had become the CEO of the KR Cancer Fund in Raleigh. And then
Mhm.
she hired me, and I started working for KR Cancer Fund. And
Wow.
that's how I got that opportunity there. And so that could kind of supplement, hopefully, trying to do some of the games on the side. Cause like
Wow.
it wasn't any money. Like my whole outfit, and if I didn't wear my hair natural and got the weave and everything, it was like I was in the negative. Okay, I was in the
Yeah.
negative doing that game.
Shit.
you know,
Yeah.
and people didn't know that. My sisters used to tell me all the time. They were like, "Well, you can't say anything." It's just like, like my dear friends knew how much money I had actually made, but people were still looking like today. People are like, "Oh my gosh, you guys played for nothing." Like I was making
Yeah.
more money than it's like guys I
Yeah.
dated and people that I was in circles with. They were like, "We were actually making so much more money than you," and here I am intimidating people because they thought
Right.
I was a
Sure.
celebrity and I had all the money. even
So
though
I
I was
have to
even though I
ask.
was driving a Toyota Avalon. It's just like, but then I got made fun of for that because they're like, why is, my sisters used to tell me, you need to get a Mercedes. It's just, I'm like, I can't afford
Like,
that.
girl, how much did I pay for that?
Right,
So
like, yeah,
I
so
don't
it was a
like
lot. It
not
was a
to like
lot post transition. Yeah, it was a lot. It was
Yeah.
a lot. It was a lot.
thinking about like the gender differences too between WNBA and NBA. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
have to ask, like, were you just on fire on the inside to think
Oh,
that
I
you
was.
worked your ass off and then your compatriots over here because they didn't have, you know, breasts and a uterus that they were going to end up making so much more money than you?
Or degrees.
Or
Or, well,
degrees.
fuck, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Let's
Yeah.
talk
So
about
yeah,
that.
I was on
Yeah.
fire inside. I even when I would like go to these different events, like people would follow my life, or like I would be at All Star, and people like, oh, they're bringing you to All Star. I would do appearances, and my counterparts, the NBA guys, would do appearances, and so they would have me do an appearance. I'm working like 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever. They would pay me like $850. Then I
Mhm.
find out the NBA guy's making 8,000 for that same appearance. And he's
Oh,
just standing there basically. And I'm not talking about all of them. Some of them interact, but it's like, yeah, that
Honest to
was the
God.
the pay gap. And even like when I would do TV jobs, if I was getting paid, let's just say like hypothetical, if I got paid 350 for that game, the guy would get paid 650.
wow. I
You
just
know?
it blow
Wow.
it's so
It's maddening.
crazy. And It still like makes me all fiery inside, and then watching some of, the documentaries, whether it be about the soccer leagues and we watched one on the WNBA and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, it's so upsetting and so sad because the reality is you worked just as hard, if not
Right.
harder, than many of those men in the
Yeah,
NBA.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now,
And
it's
I
not
mean,
taking anything away from the ones who worked
oh
No.
really
no, I'm
hard,
not.
like, but man, Chaz, like you came from this little town in North Carolina and
Yeah,
worked your ass off.
Well, and
yeah.
I even
That,
just
but
listen to you here, listening to you talk, like you're vivacious, you're interesting, you are eloquent, you're funny. Like I don't know how I see this total package person, and I don't know why they would make you go and be in some tiny little station and earn your chops because you didn't have any experience. Like
yeah.
it's
Well,
just yeah, poof.
the same goes for coaching though, Nick. Like, when I was trying to get into coaching, even after the KR Cancer Fund or get back on at NC State or just different colleges, like across the board. Obviously, Coach Al had passed and different coaches that recruited, myself and coaches that, were well known have retired. But people were like, oh, you got to pay your dues. You need to go to a small college. You need to, you know, do this.
Yeah.
And obviously the money for those roles were limited. And I was okay with it. But then there were some jobs I'd be like, okay, I'll take this. I'll be a grad assistant. And they're like, no, you're Chasity Melvin. You can't be a grad assistant. So it's
Wow.
just
You're like, what do you
Like what am I
want,
supposed
man?
to do?
it's like, what do you want me to do? And I
Yeah.
mean, I think my mom was more mad than anyone, and that probably disappointed me more because my mom's
Mm,
watched my entire journey, and so
mhm.
she used to ask me like, "What are you doing? Like, why are they not wanting to hire? Like, why are you not being as
Mm,
successful? Or like, why are you not in that position?" And I think that's what really made me upset,
Yeah.
because like when
Yeah.
mom's feeling like, I know you're out here working. What are you like? You're not saying something right. And but she didn't understand the dynamics of
Mhm.
how that journey goes. I don't think a lot of people in my family or even my friends, because they're like you, Jen, they're like,
Mhm.
you're Chastity Melvin. They
Yeah.
see this, they know me, they know what I've done. Like,
Mhm.
basically
yeah.
not give her a job, but they saw other NBA players, get jobs and successfully transition
Yeah.
over with kind of similar celebrity status, if you want to say, or whatever. And I'm not saying like NBA guys and those guys don't work hard or they don't try to work on their
Of
craft,
course
because
not.
athletes are competitive. But yeah,
Yeah.
there was a vast difference of that transition. I mean, it's still very difficult for NBA guys to transition and pivot into another career. But at the same time, yeah, it's been like an ongoing cycle, not just for me myself, just talking on behalf of all of my WNBA sisters, just constantly pivoting
Mhm. Yeah.
and
Sure.
finally
Yeah.
trying to shift. But now you see like the Leah Boston's, she goes right to CBS and gets a job, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
And so
Right.
I just
Yeah.
tell people, I was like kind of born on right on time, but then born too early. Like
Yeah.
now, players are going back and coaching at their universities. Their assistant coaches are getting nice
Hmm.
salaries that were in the WNBA, because obviously that bodes well if you have a WNBA player on your staff for a
Hmm.
myriad of reasons. But
Sure.
that wasn't the case when I retired.
Yeah. And when you say, so would you say that when you went to the KO Cancer Fund and had that like, I don't know, it feels to me like, I know, because I know you had such a close connection with her, like she got you, like she was like
Yeah,
kind of your
yeah,
little, right? Like she was your angel of just like, oh no, like we're gonna make this happen.
yeah.
Do you still kind of feel her with you?
Oh yeah, all the time. And
Yeah.
it's so
Mm,
funny. When I coach, I'm always using coach out isms. I'm always saying things or trying to give the kids the things that she taught me. So yeah, it was really surreal. And I also learned a lot of her history and her backstory when I worked for the KI Cancer Fund. And so
mm.
that was huge for me. And so the day to day, I love working for the KI Cancer Fund, and my sisters still say, "Well, that's not corporate. Nonprofit is not corporate." I'm like, okay, didn't have a corporate job, but I did fight with that printer a lot. We
Yeah.
just didn't get along, and all the emails, the CCs, the BCs. I'm like, I'm used to the coaching world. I'm like, we can talk. Let's have a meeting. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you gotta have the paper trail. So, so
Wow.
I mean, so I learned a lot. Like, and that's why I feel like that was a really good experience for me. And I don't mind it. I didn't mind it at all. You know, I really didn't. I haven't had any really disappointment in my journey. Like I said, like Nick, you know, I'm from a small town, so I'm like, I know wherever I go, you give me an opportunity, I'm gonna work my way up. I'm gonna be great at it. That's really just
Yeah.
how I feel. But now at this point, about to be 50, it's like another pivot. Like
I
I'm hitting another
know.
wall, and it's like, hey, I think you might have to just create your own thing. So
Okay,
that's kind of where I am.
so talk about that. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate. I got an opportunity to watch the Mystics. I co-hosted the pre and post game show, so I've been with them the last 3 years, Monumental Sports. And it's like, okay, now I can go after this media. Like, now's the time. I can
Mhm.
get on screen and get the contract with some sport. And it's like, no, nothing came after the WNBA season. So it's like another wall slam. I was slammed into another wall. And I'm like, you know what? Like you said, Jen, I know I have all the traits. Like maybe I should tap into my entrepreneurial side. But then at the same time, I'm like, I'm about to be 50. Like, I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
Girl, you're only halfway there though. Like you got
Yeah,
another half a
right.
life to
That's
live.
right.
Like
So
if
now,
that entrepreneurial part of you is speaking, answer,
yeah,
answer,
that's what I
answer.
feel like, you know, because so when I couldn't get in media, I started I started a blog when they came out with the WordPress. I started a
Mm,
sports blog, started Blog Talk Radio on my own. I wrote a book. So I
Mhm.
did all the things, and now I'm like, okay, do I rebrand all that and then just build off of it now and just go from there and just really tap
Mhm.
into my speaking ability,
I love that.
rebrand my books, and I'm still, if I get like, you know, opportunities to be on television, yeah, do it, but like kind of just rebrand myself and really push myself, because it's kind of like I'm tired of like walking into walls. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm getting too old
Sure.
for that.
You're like, I'm
I,
gonna make my own damn door.
yeah,
There
I
you
gotta
go. And
just,
I'll
yeah, I
walk
gotta,
right through it.
yeah, I gotta make my own door now and just run through it and do my thing. So, that's been kind of scary a little bit, you know,
Mm.
just, yeah.
Yeah, it
But
is. It's
I know I can do it. It's just like finding the right people, finding the right team. I have all the
yeah.
tools. So that's kind of where I am right now in that transit.
What do you think is like one of the so something for me as I approach 50, like it's kind of like I feel liberated and there's like some freedom in hitting this like 50, right? Like we have, I don't know if you feel this way, Chaz, but like fewer F's to give and like what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
And like the filter has come off a little bit. And what do you feel like is like the greatest gift of being at this point in your life, this midlife point? And what do you think is the greatest challenge?
The greatest gift is knowing exactly who I am and just being
Mhm.
really confident. Like the Chasity Melvin back in the day, it was like I would tell, okay, like give me this and I'll work with it and go. And I'm like, no, I know this. This is what I can provide for you, and I'm not taking less. So
Mhm.
Mm,
that's a gift right now. Like I'm really confident in what I can do, and I'm also very confident in what my weakness is and what I need help with, or someone
mm.
to assist me with. The biggest challenge is just going outside of the norm, because all of my other good friends, and they're so supportive. You know, I have some great friends, great family. You know, they're turning 50 and they're in the height of their careers. You know,
Mhm.
so it's just like
Mm.
I put more pressure on myself because I'm coming around like, and they're just talking about, well, da, 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 and they're like, Chance, what are you doing? I mean, in a joking way, but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you haven't started this yet. But like, they kind of stay on me, but at the same time, it's that's the challenge. I put more pressure on myself for just kind of like, not that I'm comparing myself to them, but it's hard, you know, when like everybody's kind of like doing their thing,
Mhm.
and
Oh, girl. Yep.
yeah, you're like, well, I'm gonna do this, and
Mhm.
they're kind
Yeah.
of looking at you like, you know, we're close to retirement. You need to be building for your retirement. You know,
Yeah.
like,
No,
you know,
that's
they're
not, yeah.
telling you the logical stuff that you already know.
Yeah.
So that, I guess that's the most challenging, which isn't a big challenge, but it is.
Yeah.
It's the most challenging. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thank goodness you have the life perspective and the positivity. And thank goodness your parents raised you the way that they did to help you see that even though you can't see through that You can't see through the wall. You know that the opportunity to create a door or a window is there and that you could do it and that you can do it. It's the hope and it's the faith. Because when you
Yeah.
have to pivot as many times as you've had to, or other people who have been less privileged or more privileged, it's pivoting is hard, no matter what flavor it's served in,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
doing
For
it.
anyone. Yeah, it is. It is. And that's what I tell everyone. But like, just gotta take the first step. And that's kind of like where I am now. I mean, not that I'm not giving, and I don't, it's very hard because once I enter that world, it's just like I enjoy coaching. And I've heard, like, I called someone yesterday about a coaching opportunity. They were just like, "Oh, well, we thought you were doing media." So then people are quick to box you in.
Sure, totally,
So I think that's
totally.
another thing that's challenging too, Nick. Like, people then box me in. They're like, "Oh, well, Chas is, doing her podcast and she's talking about her book," and it's just like, that doesn't mean I don't want to coach anymore.
Right. Like
Right.
you can be a multifaceted
Yeah, I'm
human.
super multifaceted, and so when I heard that on the phone, I'm like, and that's challenging because you got to put
Yeah,
stuff on social media. Then when people see it, they're like, "Oh, she's doing that now. I'm not going to call her."
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Do you
Yeah, it
sleep?
is.
yeah, no, I sleep really good. I'm a good
Do
rester.
you? Like, I'm like, and when do you sleep? I feel
Nah,
like you pack in an awful lot in a day.
nah, I have to get my REM sleep, Jen. So I make sure between 1:30 and 5, I have to sleep.
Good for you.
Yeah, no, I have to get to sleep. That's what I
Yeah.
tell people. People ask me all the time. Sometimes, I mean, well, I color my hair, but people are like, "You look young," and I especially tell
You
the Black
do.
women in my culture, they don't get enough sleep. They don't get enough rest. You
Yeah.
know,
Mm.
Fortunately for me, I don't have kids. I go get my nieces
Mhm.
and nephews. I love them, and then I take them
Right.
back.
And then you give
And then
back,
take them
And
back.
right?
then I give them back. But it's just critical, finding that time to rest and listen to your body. So I'm very in tune, being a professional athlete for so long, and I can say my WNBA sisters are the same way. We know our bodies. We know when we're eating too unhealthy and
Mhm.
different things like that. I've really learned my body. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I
Just
got my
like Nick. See,
yeah.
Yeah.
Nick,
Me same.
It's
Nick,
the
you didn't
same
Same
need to
way.
thing.
be, you didn't need to be in the WNBA. Also, like you
No.
just knew that. You got
No,
that
it's
from her,
Girl,
like
I like sleep. I make sleep my job. Okay.
right.
Like
Yeah,
at,
I think it's an athlete thing, Nick. Like, it's
yeah.
just I don't care if you're pro or not. Athletes understand, like, sleeping and eating is important, and eating a certain way. You just learn your body, and I think the
Yeah.
average person really doesn't.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I know we're getting close on time here, Chaz, and so we have a couple more questions if you have
Okay.
time.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Anything for you, Nick? Because you're
You
Mr. His daughter.
That's right. That's all.
Oh,
I'm gonna
that's
tell her that. She's gonna be so excited. Like, I got extra
sorry.
time with Chazzy Chaz because of you, Mama. So, speaking of food, um, gosh, like you went all around the world. And again, like I remember the times in North Carolina where we had real traditional Southern food, and that was kind of like our staple. And we would do pig roasts and all of that kind of stuff. Amazing.
Mm.
Um, but talk about going outside your comfort zone from a food perspective, going
Yeah.
internationally, right? What was the craziest thing that you ate that you were surprised that you absolutely loved?
The craziest thing would probably be octopus.
Okay.
I had that in Spain my first year, and
Mm.
it was cool. It was okay. I don't say that after I left. I ordered octopus all the time, but I tell people, I don't know. I have to give my parents a lot of credit, just in how they raised me and my siblings, and just being open to experiences, and to learn the cultures. So for me, the 14 years I played overseas were probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. And just
Mm.
learning different cultures, especially being from the small town of Roseboro. Because, like, my cousins and I were just always like, we're going to go to New York City. That was our main goal. Like, if we can
Yeah.
make it in New York
Mm.
City, we have made it. And then, I'm in Spain, Italy. I didn't even dream that big. So for me, yeah. So it was octopus. And then, what's the least, you said the least favorite thing?
Yeah.
There were some questionable cuisines in China when I played in Guangzhou. I
Questionable.
just questionable, if my
That's
translator,
polite.
yeah, if my translator couldn't quite translate exactly what it was, I
Yeah.
didn't. But
I think that's fair.
I will say all my friends call me the bougie eater because like I don't eat Chinese food anymore in the States because it's totally different. Like the
Oh, I
Chinese
bet.
cuisine was so delicious, you know.
Mm.
And I can eat
Mm,
all day long. Like I can eat 4 or 5 times a day and just be fine.
Yep.
Same in Italy with the pasta, which I love.
yeah.
Italy was the best. The pizza, the pasta, the gelato. And I'll never forget
Yeah.
in my city going in the gelato stores, and they would always laugh at me because they give you these small cups, when you try,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
would like come like 4 or 5 times a day.
Love it.
Yeah,
More,
yeah.
please.
Yeah, more
More,
please.
please.
But yeah, and I loved how the Italians ate. Now that was
Yeah.
tricky at first.
Yeah.
They bring out the little salad and everybody talks and then they drink a little wine and then I'm ready for the meat,
You're
especially
right.
like
Yeah.
bring food.
And it's
But
a long ordeal and usually
it's
a little later in the evening too.
yes.
So if you like to digest earlier or you don't like going to bed with a heavy belly, that's
Yeah.
I've been there a couple times and that's been difficult. Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
adjustment.
But I when in Rome, you do as the Romans.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I enjoyed all the cuisine. So now it's like they're like, we can't take Chastity anywhere because she's had all the authentic stuff.
She's too bougie for us
Yeah,
now.
that's the one thing they say I'm bougie and like by eating. I'm like, because they're like, where do you want to go eat? It really doesn't matter.
I love it.
Like, I don't care where we go.
You're an equal opportunity eater. If you come up to the Boston way at some point, there's a place in the South End that's called oh my God, it's Joanne Chang's.
Myers and
It's
Chang.
Myers and Kent. Duh. Like, that was just this whole day. I don't know that I have been quite on. Myers and Chang has a Joanne Chang she's a absolute beautiful baker, but she prides herself on serving food that was served in her home when she was a little girl and what her grandparents made and her parents made, and it is not the kind of Chinese food that you would have elsewhere that as Americans that we would have been exposed to. So you can
Yeah. So
add that to your bougie list.
yeah, you understand me. And
I
obviously
hear you.
Israel's my favorite country, so I love all the food.
Oh,
That's just a melting pot of food. But yeah, like
yeah.
I love all the food there too as well.
Yeah. Jen, do
Well,
you have
that
a
kind of
final question
Oh,
for
my
Trisha?
final question, of course, as we talk about, I mean, I realize that we're not all around a table, but Nick and I, we joke about like the food what is a food that you think that you have eaten more than any other food in your entire life and like your identity food, and what food could you eat every day and not get tired of it?
That's the same question I was in. What I'm eating the
What
most.
could you, what have you? Oh yeah, well maybe it is kind of well, or
Hmm.
maybe I should just say what food could you eat every single day and not get tired of?
Chicken.
Chicken. What
Oh,
kind of
girl.
chicken?
I mean, it doesn't
Any
matter.
kind.
Like
She said chicken. It's like
anything with a chicken dish, like any kind of chicken. I never get tired of it. Never get
love
tired of it.
it.
But
Oh,
I also
Yeah.
like avocado. I can have avocado in it, but I have to have fresh avocado.
yeah. Yeah. We can't have,
Bougie.
no. Yeah,
Yeah,
bougie.
Bougie.
I, I am bougie. You're right. You are.
But then again, there's no canned avocado and there's no frozen avocado. So truly, no one can make fun of you for that because the only kind is fresh.
That's
Period. End of
Yeah,
right.
well, you
story.
know how they have those little packets already pre-made and stuff, like
Oh, all
Yeah.
right.
for
Yeah.
someone.
Like
Yeah.
Trader Joe's and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
no,
so,
life is good with the food with me. I'm a foodie, so
yeah.
I really can't say I can't knock anything. I am not a person that's going to be pescatarian or vegan. I just try to minimize my intake of certain foods.
Yeah, like you don't eat a ton of shit and you make sure you nourish your body with good foods and like I remember like well, we didn't quite do that when we were in basketball because we were stopping at Cracker Barrel all the
Yeah,
time.
we were eating whatever then. Yeah.
Can't do that anymore. That doesn't roll well.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't.
So I do want to, do you have the time to cook and do you love to cook or are you like being cooked for?
I love when someone cooks for me. I
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up on that. My grandmother is my mom, my
Mhm.
aunties. So I love when someone cooks for me. I enjoy cooking, but my meals are just made up things. So
Mhm.
You're a forager.
Yeah, but my nieces and nephews, they're like, Aunt Chastity can make spaghetti.
Yes, Jess.
Which, I mean, I'm like, who can't make spaghetti? But at the end of the day, some people make it. I'm not going to knock it. I'm not going to knock that, Nick. If I'm
take it.
Spaghetti, I'm going to take it. But
That's right.
I just make, when I cook, it's just the general, rice, broccoli, just the.
Keeping it clean and simple.
Yeah, my sisters are they followed my grandmothers and my moms in cooking. I was the one that always washed the dishes, so I never really got that talent.
Yeah. I feel like we could talk for hours, Chas.
I know.
I feel like because I would want to hear all about Danielle. Danielle was also on our AAU team, and now she's a doctor, professor.
Oh yeah, she's the smartest one in the family. Yes, she has her PhD now. Yeah, I call her doctor. She's like, you have to call me Dr. Kuntz now, and I said, no problem, problem.
Yep, I love that. And then I wanted to say congratulations on your nuptials. That is also something that just. When I saw that, it just warmed my heart so much because it's so special to find that kind of love at our age. It's so special.
Yeah. Because we're not changing. So you're really getting the person like, this is who you're marrying.
Fully baked.
Yep.
Fully baked.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
But so we'll have to do a part 2.
Yeah, I think we do because I and I know Jen does. Like, we didn't hardly even get to half of the questions that we have.
Yeah.
There's so much there, Chas, that like your brilliance, your fierceness, your fire, your energy, your perspective, your resilience. There's so much that I would love to learn more about, and I think you have such a way with presenting things and talking about things, and I think you're such a gift. And I think more people I think more people need to hear you and see you and take you in because just leaving, I feel full. You have filled my heart.
Oh, well, give your mom a big hug and tell her I did my thing today on your podcast, so she'll be proud of me because I want her to always be proud of me.
Yes, I'm going to tell her that. So will you give your love, my love, our love to your family?
I will.
To everybody, and our next season we'll bring you back for a part 2.
Love it. Thanks for having me.
So grateful.
I'm so glad you guys emailed me, anything for you. So just let me know.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Holiday and
you
awesome
too. Happy holidays.
All right. Take care, Jess.
All right.
Bye.
Well, that was delish. Thanks for pulling up a chair with us at Women Around a Table Eating Food. You can find us here bi-weekly, so if you love today's conversation, hit follow wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube or Instagram at Women Around a Table, and share it with a friend because there's always room for more at our table.